Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me. Good day. Welcome to Transformation Tuesday. So glad you're here. Please say hello in the comments if you're watching live or watching the replay. And if we haven't met yet, put new in the comments. I love to meet new folks. I am Liz Forrest, a master shamanic teacher of almost 30 years, sharing Toltec practices and tools of personal freedom right here in Transformation Tuesday and in my in-person and online classes, workshops, and journeys. Great to be here with all of you again. All right, so this month in Transformation Tuesday, we've been talking a lot about ways to empower ourselves, like recognizing your intuition and trusting it, finding ways to motivate yourself in creating what you're passionate about, staying strong and well, yes, in the midst of the global crisis we are experiencing. And I hope it's all been helpful for you. Hello, Lori. Good to have you here. All right, so that's what we've been talking about this month in Transformation Tuesday. And of course, if you missed any of it, the replays are up. I believe they're only up for 30 days now, though. In Facebook, there's a new rule, and replays only stay up for 30 days. So if you haven't seen them, if you're interested, go back and you can review or watch for the first time what we've been talking about. So let me ask you, how often do you judge yourself in a day? How often do you feel deflated and small as you victimize yourself with those judgments? That's what we're going to talk about today. And as always, love your comments. It helps us all learn from each other. And so if you want to comment on those questions, how often do you judge yourself in a day? How often do you feel deflated, small, as you victimize yourself with those judgments? Because as we've been talking about our empowerment and how to stay strong and how to move into more motivation around what we're passionate about, whatever that is for you, how to trust our intuition, all of these steps towards empowerment. And of course, we're human beings, aren't we? And so we know, for me as well, that then there's times when our judge gets involved and starts to pull us off our path, perhaps, and tell us some things that are not true. I'm going to put that in right now. Yeah, the judgments we hold about ourselves are not true. Yeah, but in the moment, that's hard to sometimes move away from. Yeah. So let's talk about the judge and the victim today. Hello, Rini. Thank you for joining. Okay, so our judge and our victim, they have a very close relationship. Would you not agree? And you can put yes in the comments if you agree that your judge and your victim have a very close relationship, because our judge judges our body, judges what we said, judges what we did, judges what we didn't do, on and on and on in those moments when our judge is activated. And our victim receives all that judgment, taking it all in, believing the judgments we berate ourselves with. And there's a little key. Believing those judgments we berate ourselves with. That keeps us very small, keeps us lacking in our own confidence, keeps us in perception of ourselves through our child or our very young lens, believing that we're not capable of doing things differently. Yeah. Judge judges, victim receives. And the victim inside ourselves, I'm going to say, is coming from a very young, wounded place in us. Until, of course, we shift our perception. But that's what's happening when it's active. Yeah. Irene, sometimes my judgments have come from other people's comments that I hold on to. So good, whether they're true or not. This is the active victim judge in action. Really great that you brought that in. Thank you, Rini. Hi, Corrine. And Corrine is sharing that you were recently and temporarily in this cycle around whether I'm doing enough to create a better world, given all that's going on. Oh yeah, that's so potent right now, isn't it? Yeah, really great. So here's something else I want to add in here. When we are judging ourselves and our victim is receiving those judgments, what's happening? I have some students here in the comments. What's happening, folks? What's happening with our energy when we are really involved in that cycle of judge and victim? I'm going to give my folks here a minute. Okay, so how do we break up the relationship between our judge and our victim? It's a big question, right? In my classes, I teach a lot of tools and practices to dismantle the judge's power over us and heal the wounded victim inside us. And if you'd like to learn more about that, I'll tell you how a little bit later. How can we do that starting today? Yeah, I'd like to offer you some steps you can take today to begin to diffuse your judge and heal the ways you victimize yourself. We all do it. Folks, we all do it at one time or another. Yeah, until we learn how not to put our energy there. Corrine, thank you. Your energy is getting worked up and then drained. Exactly. When we're judging ourselves, we are doing that. We are just handing over our energy to our judge. Here, take it. And also to that wounded child victim inside us. We're just giving up our energy to that relationship between judge and victim. Yeah, and we're draining ourselves of our own energy by believing the judge, by also allowing our victim to take charge. Yeah, so good. Thank you. Thanks, Corrine. Yes, Irene says we're giving it away. Absolutely. Okay, so how can you start today to diffuse your judge and heal the ways you victimize yourself? Okay, these are beginning steps. Okay, and I'll tell you more about how to go deeper with it a little bit later. So the first step is to pay attention. Pay attention to when you're being critical of yourself. Yeah, you don't go unconscious as you look at yourself in the mirror and start, criticizing your own body. You pay attention. Pay attention when you're being critical, when you're judging yourself. Okay? So that's the first thing. Okay, I'm noticing, I'm giving myself a hard time here about something. Identify the feelings that you're having when you're judging yourself. What does that feel like? What does it feel like when you're mean to yourself? What does it feel like when you say really unkind things to yourself about something? You be honest, right? How do I feel? I feel sad maybe. I feel scared. Yeah. Whatever it is for you, what do you feel when you are in judgment of yourself? Okay, that's the first. Awareness of when you are judging yourself and what does that feel like? Be honest. Yeah, what does it feel like? Okay, second thing is ask yourself, is this helpful? Yeah, that's a step to empowerment. Is this helpful that I am taking myself down right now about something? Is it actually true? Yeah, is this true? Would I judge someone else I care about this way? Would I tell my very best friend what I'm telling myself right now? Okay, I'm gonna bet, even though I'm not really a gambler, but I'm gonna bet that you would not say some of the things you say to yourself to your best friend. Really good comments here. Yes, Corrine, recognizing, this is another way to explain this. Thank you, Corrine. Yeah, putting your attention, recognizing that it's what we call on this path the parasite. Yeah, the parasite. The parasite needs a host to survive, right? Parasites need hosts. They can't survive on their own. And so when we're judging ourselves, we're feeding our energy into our parasite is how we explain this on the Toltec path. We're feeding our parasite. And Lori, you shrivel up into a small ball. Yeah, we get so small when we're judging ourselves. Yes. So, okay, we are, first of all, putting our attention to when we're being critical of ourselves and identifying our feelings. And then you're asking yourself, is this really helpful to me, this judgment, this thought? And is it true? Is it true? That's a really good question. Would you judge someone else the way you're judging yourself? Someone you care about, someone you love? Yeah. Okay, we're bringing it home. Okay, so the next step would be to offer some compassion to yourself as you are feeling those mean feelings, those judgments. Offer some compassion to yourself, no matter what's gone down. Okay, we're going to get into that in a minute. But you offer yourself compassion regardless of what has happened. Okay, you offer compassion to yourself, and that shifts your perception. And I'm sure we're all aware of that. Yeah, it shifts our perception when we receive kindness and compassion from ourselves, and certainly from someone else. But right now we're talking about ourselves. And take a moment to acknowledge your own strengths, your achievements, your valuable characteristics. This is diffusing the judge, right? Instead of believing everything your judge is telling you. Well, what about this? I'm strong in this particular area. I am a kind, loving, good person. Yeah. It's like having a little conversation with your judge. And, of course, it's all about you, because you hold your own judge, you hold your own victim. Okay, and here's the big one. You take a different action when those criticisms arise in you. You take a different action, because we know we can talk about all these things. If we don't take a different action, nothing's going to change, right? So, example, take a different action. Let's say you're judging your body. Instead of, I am so fat, here's a different perception. I appreciate how strong my body is. Instead of, I was such a jerk yesterday to my partner when I said blah, blah, blah. Today I will pause before I respond to my partner's questions. Different action. Maybe at work, I could have finished that project at work yesterday. I am so lazy. Action. I will make a daily work schedule to complete what I'm responsible for in my job. Action. Okay, these are all examples. My point is to take an action to do something different when your judge starts to get activated. What's the final step you're going to do? Yeah, you're going to put your attention there. You're going to be compassionate to yourself. You're going to ask yourself those questions. Is this true? Is this helpful? And then what different action can I take now that I've done those first steps? And we know the more we practice new actions, the more they become how we live our lives. Yeah, they become our nature. And all of these really simple steps help to diffuse that relationship between the judge judging and the victim receiving. Yeah. So I promised earlier to share how to learn more about the judge and the victim practice. And to do that, I'm going to ask you to put interested in the comments. And I'll contact you to set up a complimentary Zoom session to give you a breakthrough session about your own dismantling of your judge and victim. Put interested in the comments if you would like that. And I also want to tell you that my next Awakening 3-month course is starting very soon, in just a few days. So if you are also interested in learning more about that 3-month deep dive, condensed course into the Toltec practices, which work deeply with judge and victim, different tools and practices to step into your own personal power and release yourself from guilt and shame and trauma, perhaps, from what you experience with your judge and victim inside your own self. You'll also learn how to stalk your energy lines and reclaim yourself from your past, also from your ancestral lines, and so much more. And of course, you're part of a really great, beautiful community, of which I have many right here. So great you have all joined me. And if you are interested in learning more about awakening, put awakening in the comments and I will contact you. And we can talk about that in a Zoom session as well. Why I'm asking you to put words rather than me putting my link in the comments is because Facebook has changed that too. They don't like links in comments anymore, so they take them out. So now we are creating magic words to connect, which is really more fun anyway. So interested, if you would like a complimentary session to talk about judge and victim, I'll give you a complimentary breakthrough session. And if you are wanting to know more about awakening, put awakening in the comments and I will contact you and we can talk about that starting in just a few days. All right, thank you everybody for joining me, Lori and Corrine and Rini, and hope I haven't missed anybody. And I will see you all next week right here, Transformation Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your day. I send you all my love.